Yo, 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 and welcome back to the Banter Boys podcast. My name is Sanji. With me is Ryan. How you doing, Ryan?
Mixed feelings, yo. We both had a kind of shit week, so fantasy related at least. Um, so I mean, there are some positives, there are some negatives, and we'll get right into them.
Yeah, we will dissect them in a bit. It's gonna be a short pod. So quick breakdown is basically discuss fan team and draft stuff in the first half. We didn't really collect questions because like Ryan said it was like a shitty week and to be honest it's been a bit slow. I think people are now starting to gear up for like FPL and the regular season and stuff like that. So in the second half we'll cover like the budget stuff, which is the main part of the pod. But yeah, let's get right into it then. Just quick, let me do insert plugins, Ross's voice for all the socials. Insert that here.
Yeah, for sure. So you can message us on Twitter and Instagram. Our handles at BantaB. On Discord in the Draft PL channel, Banta Boys hashtag 6585. On Reddit, /Banta underscore boys. You can listen to us on Spotify, Apple Podcast, Google Podcast, SoundCloud, and YouTube, all under the name of Banta Boys.
All right. So quick admin stuff, if anything. Like I mentioned at the start of the pod, we're not gonna have any questions this week. We didn't really ask anyone for questions per se. To be honest, I'm also kind of at the point where I'm also ready for the Euros to end and get my little vacation before the regular season starts at the same time.
Yep.
Because there are fewer teams, less options to kind of punt on. Now it's kind of straightforward. Everyone kind of has the same shit, so it's not as fun.
Agreed.
The Twitter space that we've been hosting, I don't think we're gonna host one for this week. Maybe for the final, just for the like shits and giggles. I don't think it really makes much sense. Because I feel like the content that we're gonna talk about will cover most of the stuff. So I mean, let's just kind of find out what's going on with FanTeam, Ryan.
Sure. So I kind of got shafted by England. I mean, I had couple English players, but they're very expensive, so I couldn't go overboard and get all that I wanted. So I only had Kane on one account. I didn't have Sterling on either account, but I think I had double English defense on both accounts. The problem is I didn't have the right defenders. I didn't have Shaw. I didn't have Maguire. So I think I dropped from about 2,000 to 3,500 on both accounts.
Oh wow!
I'm still in the money.
Yay!
But the payout is getting smaller and smaller every week.
Yeah.
I'm looking at about a €40 profit, which I'm fine with.
Are you gonna maybe target low ownership or just cover your ass from here on out?
Good question. I think I may do a few differential picks, like maybe Barella, maybe
Verratti.
Yeah, Verratti's not a bad option. And well, Spinazzola's injured now, so he has to come out my team.
Yeah.
I might just replace with, I don't know, Emerson maybe. I don't expect many people to have Emerson.
Yeah. And again, you don't have the benefit of the lineups for that game, right? For FanTeam. FanTeam is a bit funny, isn't it? Yeah.
No, yeah, I don't.
Yeah, so I would say go for some nailed options. Like Verratti has what, 2 assists in 3 games or something like that? Something wild like that?
Yep.
Yeah. So
probably like over 10 key passes, I think.
yeah, or something like Mason Mount, or I feel like a lot of people might not go for him, but then again, English assets would be the popular assets, right? Because the EPL and all that sort of shit.
Yep.
So yeah. Okay, well, we'll chat off air. Hopefully you still are in the green in the next episode, etc., and we'll see how you kind of progress there. Let's get some draft updates right now. What is the overall standings like, and how did the quarterfinals go?
Sure. So in the league standings, you are now top of the league, 226 points. Ian is second with 219 points. Kyle is third with 208 points, and I'm fourth with 194 points. So it looks like you and Ian are really the only ones competing there. Maybe Kyle if he gets a really lucky week, but at this point, I don't expect any teams to really make up ground. So I think it's really just you and Ian battling for the top two. And well, we had our quarterfinals, and those same top four that I just listed off won each of their quarterfinals. So you won yours, I won mine, Ian won his, and Cal won his. In the semis, you and I are going to meet up.
What?
And
It's gonna be exciting.
yeah, and Kyle and Ian are going to meet up. So it should at least put one of us into the final. Hopefully, one of us could win it all. On paper, I would say your squad looks better right now. I think I have 9. And I think I can definitely get one more on waivers. So 10 for sure.
You're last on the waiver out of the 4 of us, right? But I don't know where the
Yeah.
rest of the league, what they're gonna do, if they're gonna pick up players. I mean, you hope at this stage the people that aren't in playoffs don't pick up players, but they still have the league table to kind of fight for, right?
Yeah, and I mean, I'm not too worried. I think there's a couple differential picks out there that, I mean, they probably won't start, but they can easily come on late. Like, there must be 1 or 2 Spanish options still out there.
Yeah, I think what is that? Ruiz? Fabian Ruiz or whatever is his name?
Right,
Yeah,
yeah,
he gets
yeah.
some cameos every now and then. You could probably grab him. I was thinking to maybe go grab Chilwell just to kind of cover my ass because I have Luke Shaw.
Right,
I'm
okay, not
tempted, you
bad.
know, because I that's the only team I'm not maxed out on, right? So I mean, we could kind of run through our teams right now, what the current state is, right? My bench is obviously a bunch of players that have been eliminated from the tournament. So I've got 3 Spanish players who are Oyarzabal, Koke, and Busquets. I've got 3 Danish players who are Maele, Striger Larson, and Cornelius. I've got 3 Italians who are Cherby, Insigne, and Berardi. And my 2 English players are Luke Shaw and Pickford.
Okay, not bad, not bad. So I have 3 Spanish as well. Ferran Torres, Paul Torres, and Eric Garcia. I have 3 Danish as well. Schmeichel in goal, Damsgaard, and Dolberg. I have 3 Italy as well, so Di Lorenzo, Verratti, and Immobile. I only have 1 English asset though, and that's Jordan Henderson, who doesn't even start.
Yeah. But could start this upcoming game. You never know, right? Came off the bench and got a goal, so who knows?
True.
It's gonna go down to the wire, for sure. I can't even call it, I
Yep.
think.
And I mean, you are backing like, who was it you said? English like defense. So and you have Danish defense.
Yeah.
I have Danish attack. So if my attack scores on the English defense, you know, it's like we have places where we compete against each other.
The funny thing is, though, I think that the only team that are gonna keep the clean sheet this round is Italy.
Interesting.
Yeah, yeah. But I will get to that discussion in like the latter part of the pod.
Sure.
So I mean, other than the teams that we have, is there anything else we can kind of pick at draft? No. Should we just switch over to the main game then?
I mean, we could quickly look through and see if there are any free options available. Like just hot picks at this point who
Yeah, sure, we can do that.
might be a decent grab. So like Jensen's on our waiver wire list right now.
Definitely worth a grab, I think. Yeah.
Yeah, he comes on late in each game. He gets corner duties when he comes on,
Yeah.
so he's worth
Maybe
it.
grab Anderson if they want to defend later on. They start throwing on extra center
True.
backs, right?
Yeah,
Like every
Anderson's
point
there.
is crucial, right now.
Correct.
Um,
From England, I'm only seeing, I guess, Jude, and like you mentioned, Chilwell is there.
yeah,
I don't see anybody else coming on really.
I would throw a random shout for Reece James in case they go back 5. You never know, right?
Maybe. I mean, Walker has the pace, and he's been looking semi-shaky, but they'll probably stick with him, I think,
Yeah.
for the
Yeah,
experience.
yeah, true.
Let's see, who in Spain is there? Ruiz, like you mentioned, Adama Traore, meh. And Gaia is on waivers.
Yeah.
He may get a run out at late in the game. And I forget who's the last team.
Hey, it's your team.
Yeah. Italy was rated hard, so I don't see any real options.
Maybe Cristante?
Cristante and Brindeschi are the only options that may come on.
Because Cristante has come on as a sub in every game so far.
Was it every game?
Every
Wow.
game.
Okay, yeah. His His minutes played are so low. It's only 62,
Yeah,
but yeah, he's gotten like teens. 16 minutes here,
exactly.
15 minutes there. Yeah, you're
Even
right.
3 minutes in one game.
Yep.
Any update on Florenzi and the Di Lorenzo situation?
I haven't seen anything. The last I saw was Florenzi wasn't going to make the last game.
Yeah,
He didn't. I think, you know, why change it at this point if it's working?
for sure. Yeah,
Even if he comes back fit.
yeah.
But I do think for those who are lacking a goalkeeper, like I am now lacking a goalkeeper, I might pick up Sirigu.
Yeah, if you're not maxed out on the Italians already, yeah.
Yeah, it's just someone that, if an injury happens to a goalkeeper, he'll be the next up.
Yeah, you never know what's gonna happen. Football is so unpredictable, right? Who knows?
Exactly.
Jordan Pickford might fucking do something wild, get a red card, and you gotta pick up Sam Johnstone, you know?
Right, exactly.
All right. Yeah, those are some pretty good shouts. I don't know if I'm going to be able to grab anyone other than an English player because I still am tempted to hold on to Cherby, even though he got benched last game because Chiellini's back. You never know what's gonna happen, right? If they get to the final and Chiellini pulls his groin in training or some sort of shit.
Right, okay.
So I'd rather hold on to guys that still got minutes during the tournament that, still has some sort of a role in the team.
Yep, yep.
Okay, so now I think what we can do is take a quick halftime pint break. Even though it's a short episode, we still love our bear. So we'll be right back after the break.
Nice.
And we are back. So, to catch up in the official budget game stuff, last round went like shit. So much for playing the game safe and sensible.
I'm not sure if... Yeah, we played it semi-safe. Well, I had my wild card, and I still kind of shot the bed.
I have hope though, in a weird way. Like, I feel like now everyone's gonna pile on to like the English defense, and I feel like that's gonna kind of pay off for us. I hope. I don't know. I don't know if I'm like just fantasizing a little bit.
Maybe, man. They have not conceded yet. Who's to say they will against Denmark? You never know, though.
But I mean, you saw that moment of wildness from Pickford when they were already 3-4 goals up. He ran out, swiped at the ball, and we've always had in the back of our mind like Pickford is can be a little dangerous at times as an asset, right? And even though he's looked one of the best keepers in the tournament, if I compare him to like the other teams, like I think Schmeichel's a better keeper than him. I think Donnarumma is a better keeper than him. I think Unai Simon and him are probably on the same level, given Unai Simon's own goal, shenanigans.
Right, right.
But like comparing the entire squad, and I don't know if it's because I dislike England a little bit, if it comes off that way. But when I look at the remaining teams in the tournament, do you really think that England is the best team of the remaining four?
No, I think Italy is, and without a doubt. They've played the best football by far.
Right? And I'm very curious as to how Mancini is going to react given the lack of Spinazzola. And I don't know if you've been having a peek at Italy's videos that they release on social media, etc. Man, they seem like a genuine family. Just the amount of love that they're showing Spins, and yeah, like there's something special that's going on in that camp.
For sure.
When I think of the World Cup 2018, England had that crucial fixture versus Colombia. It went on to penalties, and at that time, I remember there was a big thing because the England camp does media so well. Them getting over that penalties hurdle was a massive thing in their history, in their books, etc. Right?
Yep.
And then they went on to beat Sweden 2-0 convincingly, and then you know what? They were like, you know what? It's just Croatia until we get to the final, and I really don't know if it's history repeating itself because Harry Maguire actually scored versus Sweden in that 2-0 game, and I'm kind of upset that I didn't look at these things before because sometimes I kind of look at like history of the fixture, the moment, especially for FPL. So who knows, right? They're coming up against a Denmark team, and I don't think, honestly speaking, that England has come up against a good team yet.
I agree.
Like, sure, Germany was probably the best team that they faced, But even then, I don't think German fans themselves were quite confident on their progress throughout the tournament, given Yogi Löw's recent tactical changes, etc., etc.
Yeah, I mean, the German team on paper looked good, but in reality, they didn't figure out their attacking lineup at all. I mean, Lowe was still playing around with things. So I do think Denmark will be a better test.
At one point, the constant green arrows had to kind of come to an end. We had to have a bad week. I'm just glad that the bad week came now, like versus the last game week. That would have been a really shitty way to end it. So I've gone from like around 2K to like 12K overall. In Trinidad from like what, top 10 to like number 30 now. What about you?
Okay, so you dropped 10k spots. I also dropped 10k spots from 16k to 26k. I went from about 50th or 51st in Trinidad to now 68th. But I think there's still some room for growth there.
Yeah. Yeah. Because, I mean, we're getting the lineups for the Spain-Italy game, and I'm really happy about that. I'm not gonna lie, the round that we just finished, because, like, we went into that with what? I didn't take any hits, and you had wildcard, right? What was your final score on wildcard, by the way?
50.
Okay.
Flat.
And I got 41 without hits. And I looked at a lot of teams, like, in our leagues and stuff. So, like, unless you had like Maguire, Shaw, or maybe Captain Kane, you probably got like around 70, maybe high 60s, I want to say, right? If you didn't, then I'm gonna say you're gonna fall around the 50s. And even teams that took hits, I want to say gained like at least 10 to 15 points on me, right? That's like owning at least one of Maguire, one of Shaw, or like I said before, captaining Harry Kane, which I had neither of. So to get 41 points without any three of those assets was, I felt like slight bit of a miracle, because I thought maybe my rank would be way worse. I mean, a 10k drop is pretty significant still, right?
Yeah, but I think you're still high up in most of your mini leagues, right?
Yeah, like top 3 for sure, right? So
exactly.
So now the way I kind of look at it, or I know we had a bad day. We were like, you know what? Let's just call it a day, take some time off, step away. Let's like just clear our minds, right? So I've had some time to kind of mull over the situation, etc. And I kind of want to go back to the old way we kind of started playing the game, which was, I don't give a fuck about my rank. I don't give a fuck about any of this stuff. Like, I'm gonna, just pick good players that I think are gonna win the Euros. And
yeah,
I think the lucky part is that no, I think a lot of players, managers, I don't think many are going to have their chips left, right? They're just going to have their 5 free transfers. And I think naturally people are going to gravitate towards, let's say, England, right? Because if you look at like top ownership, right? If we look at defense alone, the top 5 defenders alone currently in the game are Luke Shaw at 34%, John Stones at 34%, Laporte at 25%, Spins at 24%, and surely people are still going to take him out, right?
Yep.
And then Maele at 24%. You look under that, you got Alba, Bonucci, Pau Torres, Kyle Walker, Harry Maguire. What that tells me is that people have barely invested in the Italian defense. So considering we get that lineup first, I'm really high on getting men like Chiellini, getting men like Emerson, players that are like under 5% ownership from the Italian backline. And the reason I say this is I get that Spain has generated what I believe has been the highest XG total out of the 4 remaining teams at 15.89 based on our math. I hope it's correct, right? But if you looked at the last game versus Switzerland, they really struggled to score. And they struggled to score against a good keeper as well. The defense, they tried, right? But when I consider the Italian defense, I think it's better than the Swiss defense. And Gigi Donnarumma has looked impenetrable at times, mate.
Yep.
So I kind of want to gamble on Spain rotating a lot, Spain having played so much extra time, and Italy just maybe kind of keeping things tight, because I know their run of clean sheets have kind of ended, but if you think about it, their goals kind of came in extra time and one was a penalty.
Right.
So it wasn't anything from open play in 90 minutes. So that's why I think maybe I'm gonna gamble on the fact that Italy can probably seal that result in 90 minutes.
I think they will. Well, they could. I shouldn't say will.
Yeah.
I think I'm actually slightly more keen on Italy attack. Now that Spin is gone, I may just replace him with Emerson, like for like swap, and I don't know, get another Italian attacking asset in. Right now, I only have Chiesa, so
I think if you're going Italy attack, you have to have Insigne. He's the first person I think that goes in for you. I think after that, Immobile and whoever else we get on the starting lineup.
yeah, it's going to be all dependent on the lineup for me.
Yeah.
And I think also like there's doubts around Sarabia right now, and I actually have no clue how Spain are going to line up given how many early transfers Enrique made last game.
Yeah. So I honestly think on average teams have at least 3 Spanish players. I've seen teams with 4 or 5
Yep.
Spanish players even. So I think in a sense not taking hits and not wilding out, trying to fit in as many Spanish players, English players that I wanted, like extra ones, kind of helps me in that sense because, like, I go back to the low differential, low own Italian players, right?
Sure.
So I did a little bit of digging into like the head-to-head recent matchups and stuff. I did notice that Chiellini managed to get a goal in one of the recent matchups, and Insigne managed to get a goal in one of the most recent matchups.
Oh wow, okay.
I mean, if we're considering captain options for that first day, I'm tempted to captain a man like Chiellini on a set piece and gamble on him scoring. And again, it's kind of going back to maybe the ownership. And if I don't captain a defender, I might just captain Insigne.
Yeah, agreed. My go-tos will be mids or defense. I still don't like captaining forwards. I think their ceilings are pretty low.
My only reason why I would want to captain a defender, because we've seen so many times games going to extra time, that players that tend to stay on the pitch are your centre backs, your full backs, right?
Yep.
So I mean, it could be a gamble, you know. Insigne, sure, he might get goal and assist, but come off early, right? But that's a gamble that you have to be willing to take. The only reason I don't see Insigne coming off early is because I don't think they have as much of a threat on the left now. Because if Insigne comes off, you still don't have Spinazzola to provide that constant threat. And
Good point.
that could be a possible reason why Insigne played so many minutes in that last fixture.
Yeah, could be true because he was being subbed off pretty early in the games before.
Yeah, yeah. And I mean, if you want to believe the voodoo that I tell you all the time, my draft team always matches up against my regular team. Dude, I look at my draft team, it scored 43 points without a captain. It outscored my team even though I had a
Nice.
captain, right? So if push comes to shove, I'll just look at the players that are starting for Italy that day, and if they're in my draft, I'll just captain that guy because clearly my draft team knows better.
Sweet.
Do you have any maybe points about the Italian squad or the Spanish squad about that fixture in general? Anything that you think we left out or captain shouts?
No, not really. I think it's going to come down a lot to lineups. I hope Enrique finally gets it right, benches Pau Torres, puts back Eric Garcia, and starts the correct lineup from the get-go. I don't quite get why Sarabia and Ferran were constantly swapping sides. We've seen where Sarabia is strong on the right, Ferran is strong on the left, so why start differently and then swap it up? I'm not sure. I mean, he does know best, but just seems quite strange. Italy, I don't think Spin's injuries a blow, but I don't think anywhere else they have really any question marks. They're probably going to line up the same. Chiesa probably gets the nod over Brady slightly because Brady still didn't impress when he came on. And yeah, we'll just take it from lineups and go from there.
Do you think it's worth taking a hit on Berardi if he isn't starting?
I guess it depends on your squad makeup because if Sarabia's out, then or even benched, I would probably quicker take out Sarabia than Berardi. At least you know for sure Berardi's going to get minutes.
Yeah, that's fair. Okay. I mean, quick shoutouts for like the low ownership players, Italian players that maybe hopefully would start as like Toloy and Acerbi and Emerson. They're all 1% owned. Eric Garcia 2% owned. Di Lorenzo 2% owned and Chiellini 5% owned. Like I feel like anyone above that is probably gonna be. It wouldn't help you gain rank if as much I think, right? But we don't know the breakdown like live FPL does for like regular season stuff. So
I think there are two Italian mids I'm semi keen on, Barella and Georgie. Um, their ownerships are 10 or lower, but I think in mid, I think the template is really forming in your midfield and your forward lineup. The defense, while you're targeting the same teams, the player themselves might swap out. So, like for example, you have Strigalarson, I have Vestergaard, right?
yeah.
Same defense, but slightly different threats.
I'm just glad because I'm waiting for the Strigalarson Vestergaard combo for us to celebrate that.
Yo, it's coming. It's coming.
100%. It'd be even better if it came against England, right? That would just be like the perfect payback.
It is coming. So yeah, next fixture, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, just before we move on, a quick shout out to Verratti, 2% owned, right? That's the other Italian midfielder that I think I would go pick up. Because set pieces, 2 assists in 3 games, what could go wrong?
True.
Okay, so the next game, and I think it's the game which is a lot harder for me to predict, which is another reason why I'm hesitant to go get assets from them, is Denmark versus England. So I looked at the recent head-to-head. Their last 2 games, I believe, was a 1-0 win to Denmark, with England getting 2 red cards.
Whoa.
And a 0-0 draw. And I believe this was in 2020 for the UEFA Nations. So it's a recent tournament, recent fixture, recent form is what I'm kind of going to go with. Yo, honestly, I don't know how to call this game. I really want Denmark to win. I think it's a better outcome for the sport, for what Denmark has gone through. But like you said, England have not conceded a goal for the tournament yet.
Yeah, so I don't think England are going to breeze through this one just like they did against Ukraine, but I still think they're heavily favored to win the game. But Denmark can, like we saw versus Belgium, really bring it to you in those early stages, play off the support they're getting worldwide, and try to just do something surprising.
And okay, so another quick match fact that I found on I found this on Who Scored. It was basically under the head-to-head preview for the Denmark-England game. Denmark have been winning at both halftime and full time in their last 3 matches.
Okay.
That's pretty impressive.
That is.
So I'm not sure how, if Denmark take the lead against England, how they're going to react, because England have not been behind all tournament.
Interesting. Yeah, you're right.
Right? So it's a very hard one for me to call. Like, I'm sure Denmark is gonna go 3-4-3 like expected. The thing is, I expect England should match up. The thing is, will they, right? We don't know how they're gonna react, because you saw Southgate tweak tactics based on his round of 16 opposition, based on his quarterfinal option.
Yep.
So opponent, sorry. So it's a very tricky one for me to call. Like, from a fantasy perspective, it annoys me that I'm going to buy Harry Kane to cover ownership, because he's one of the top 3 highest owned players in the game, I'm sure. If not in the game,
probably.
Easily, like, the forwards. I'm pretty sure it's him, Morata, and Immobile are the top 3 owned forwards in the game, right? If you want to be different, I'd suggest go for Poulsen, man. 6% owned.
Yeah, I'm even thinking about Dolberg still. He's only 9%.
Yeah.
And he's potted in the last 2 games,
Yeah. Do you have any faith going to get an English defender now, though? Given how the last round went.
I think the only one I actually want that I don't have is Shaw. His assist threat still looks real. It might just be reactionary to seeing him get those 2 assists, but I think his ownership is also up there.
34% owned, Luke Shaw.
Yeah, so I have Meunier and Spin to take out, so I can easily grab another Italian defender and Shaw. I don't know. We'll see how it goes. I'm really gonna adjust most of my transfers based on what lineup comes out for in Italy and Spain.
Yeah, same. I'm not gonna make any decisions until that lineup. Like that's when all the tinkering is going to happen. Um, I am upset about one thing. Striker now has 1% ownership. Who the fuck went and
Oh,
bought him? Because he's now 4.7 in the game. I got a 0.2 profit on him.
Nice.
Yeah. I was really excited when he got the assist to start that game versus the Czech Republic. I was like, yes, 9 Porter coming in, and then Maele went and spoiled that party. So with an even better assist, I would say.
That assist was amazing.
Yeah.
And they lost. That goal that they conceded was pretty shit. Like,
Yeah, it was. But I mean, Patrick Schick. It was pretty Schick, if anything.
I guess. So I don't know if we're going into regrets yet, but
I mean,
So-
we could have regrets. I mean, are you gonna have regrets since round of 16, right? Because that's when we had the first quote unquote wild card.
well, no, I don't really have much regrets from then because I changed my whole squad more or less. But with my wildcard, I backed one Czech option and one Swiss option. So I went Seferovic up top and Suchek in mid. And for a while, I had Schick up top. I don't think I had Shaqiri, but I was considering Shaqiri as my mid. So if I had swapped them, like the obvious Swiss attack option, if it wasn't Seferovic, would have been Shaqiri.
Yeah.
And the obvious Czech attack option, if it wasn't Suchek, would have been Schick. So, like, I just got those wrong and cost me a lot of points.
Yeah, I mean, I did all possible permutations when the points went in. I could have done, instead of Morata, Sterling, and Stones, I could have taken a hit and gotten in Maguire, Shaw, Insigne, and Kane exact cash. Seeing
Wow,
that
okay.
did not make me happy, right? But at the end of the day, we gotta remember that fantasy is kind of coming down to like luck as well. As much as
Yep.
we want to make educated guesses, we can't beat ourselves up if another team, just doesn't show up. Again, I will forever like refer to Christian Eriksen as some sort of moment that you can take a lesson from. Like from him, like something like that can happen in a game. The game can get called off, right? A hurricane can hit. Anything can hit. Like just remember, try to enjoy the fantasy aspect and don't take it too seriously. And if you are,
Agreed.
reach out to somebody, that is a bit more experienced, that has gone through this and knows how to get over those bad moments, right? Because they're not forever. And it was perfectly quoted by FPL Salah. He did that recent podcast, actually a Fantrax podcast. So I gotta like hit up this guy in the Maniacs group. He's talking about playing in a Fantrax league, and I'm like, are you talking about our league? Like, like what are you talking about? Yeah. So it was nice to see that crossover between FPL and Fantrax.
Right.
And he mentioned that, you know what, even those guys that finish first win FPL will tell you that not every week was a perfect week.
Yep.
Right? So yeah. Go ahead.
To me, it in FPL you get them for sure, and it hurts, but it doesn't sting as much as the Euros because FPL is over 38 weeks. There's time to recover. You invested in a player for the long term, that kind of thing. With Euros, it was going so well for us, and then
Yeah.
we just had one bad week, but it's really only 7 weeks long.
Yeah.
So one bad week seems like a big chunk of the game.
Yeah.
But it is just a game at the end of the day. And hey, in an alternate reality, we could have just smashed it, right?
Yeah, we could have been like, let's just take all the hits, not care, and get all the England players. But again, I still think people who have all the English players could potentially not have them in the final, right? You don't know how football's gonna turn out, right? This Denmark team has turned the entire tournament story around, right? And they've been putting in some amazing performances.
Yep.
And yeah, I just think it's a perfect opportunity for Denmark to just fucking, be what is it? The remaining upset for the tournament sort of thing.
Right.
Yeah, I think on that note, that's pretty much all we had to discuss. Is there anything maybe you want to touch on your personal squad? What does it look like going into the game? Do you have 5 players exact that you have to take out? Are you taking any hits? Like,
So it looks like I have 4 that have to come out for sure. That's Seferovic, Munier, Shawshanked, and Spin. Uh, the 5th would be dependent on what lineups we get, and I guess if Sarabia is injured or doesn't start or not. And
Yeah.
that's exact 5 for me.
Oh, that's perfect. So you get 2 keepers then.
Yeah, I have Donnarumma and Pickford, and they're both gonna play.
Lovely. Yeah, so I'm only going to have 1 keeper. Unfortunately, I have 6 people missing out. Romelu Lukaku, Spinazzola, Dumfries, Forsberg, Wijnaldum, and Stecklenburg. So I'm only
Okay.
just going to change the 5 outfielders, right? I'm
Yep,
just going
makes
to
sense.
stick to GG, hope that he keeps a clean sheet, and just, enjoy that.
So I guess you have Sarabia and Brady, and you just have to make do with it, right?
Yeah, I'm not sure if I'm gonna take a hit again. Like you said, it all depends on those lineups, right? We'll see the Spanish setup, we'll see the Italian setup. I might take a hit if I'm feeling wild. Ugh, let's see, man. Because at the end of the day, like, let's just try to enjoy the remaining weeks of football that we have, because it's been an amazing tournament with such good goals.
For sure, for sure.
All right. So on that note, guys, if you have any questions leading up to the match day, make sure to reach out to us on all the socials, mainly Twitter, because that's where we hang out the most. Yeah. On that note, we'll see you on the next episode. Peace.
Peace.